Hey, good morning, deer hunters. God bless each and every one of you, whoever else is watching, even if you don't deer hunt. You all, last year, I came to one of my hunting camps here and found that my old debris shelter had collapsed and fell in on itself. And I wasn't able to use it there during the bad weather last hunting season. So today, this morning, it was raining. It's quit right now, as you can see. I decided I would come in here, you guys, and rebuild this shelter, because this area that I hunt in right here, you guys, holds some really massive bucks. And unfortunately, last year I got skunked by this buck that was living in here. He smelled me twice, and he never did come back in the area again. And in this particular area right here, it's about, I don't know, I think we're right about 3,000 feet in altitude here. But I've killed two really nice bucks in this area. So this morning, you guys, one of the things I said in that video the other night was I was going to review a hatchet that I purchased that was made in China, and you're going to see me using this thing. And I told you that straight out of the box, the thing is razor sharp. And I cut some wood the other night with it, and I have cut wood with it, and it absolutely is razor sharp. I'll let you take a look at it. Now, this is not what the video is totally about, you all, but I'm going to let you watch me use this particular thing in building this shelter, and we'll see how it hangs out. We'll see how it does. See if it holds its edge. It might be sharp, but whether or not it holds its edge is another story. So you'll see that in this video, but come along with me. I'll pick up the camera. I'll show you the old collapsed one there, and then we will get some more things together, and we'll create another hunting. Now, if you take a look at that old shelter right there, you can see that all I done was bend a tree over to this tree, and then I just laid poles on top of that, and I created a shelter that you could actually get in and watch for deer in bad weather. That's the whole point. Or lay down and take a nap if that's what you want to do. So that one right there, you guys, is about 5 years old. And you can see that even though it's 5 years old, there's actually a dry spot in there, right underneath all that debris. So we're just going to build a... You'll notice how that axe stays in that cut. If your axe does not stay in the cut, it's not sharpened right. See that? This right here, guys, is solid sourwood. So y'all, for a $16 camp hatchet, you can't beat that right there. That thing, you all, I've been chopping dead seasoned wood. And I'll tell you one thing, it's still as sharp as it was. You know what? It's January the 25th, you all. Temperature outside today is in the high 50s. I'm about to have a heat stroke. I wore too many clothes today, but you never know what you'll need. If you'll take a look at what I'm doing here, I'm just using the available debris. If that debris is not in the area, then you really can't build one is like this one right here. Now the reason I like the TP shelter, you guys, is because it's going to shed the water a whole lot better for way more years than the kind that you see right here behind me that I showed you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put as many poles as I can up around this. Then the next time I come in here, you all, I will have measured the tarp to go around this, because I want this tarped before I put any more debris against it. That way it'll be waterproof. I can sit in it. It'll be airtight, as airtight as possible, and the wind is not going to blow it over. Just some of those things. So what you're going to see me finish up right here, you guys, is just set more poles up around this so that I can get a tarp. And since I didn't know what size of shelter that I was going to build this morning out of this debris, I could just go ahead and make it into a wooden shelter, but that won't last as long as one that's got a tarp around those poles on the inside where they can stay dry all the time, even though it's raining. So that's the reason we won't finish it all the way up today. But like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some more poles and lay them up here so that there's plenty of things for that tarp to lay against. Then it's going to shed your water away, and hopefully a stinking bear won't tear it down. I just saw some bear sign right down there before I come in here, or as I was coming in here. So let me stack up some more poles, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this little situation that we're doing right here. All right, you all, since I know for a fact that a lot of those big old deer come from that direction right there, here's going to be an opening, and then over this direction, so that I can watch that trail that goes around the other side of the mountain, that'll be the other opening. So what I'm going to do right here is we're going to measure. We'll just take us a string, we'll tie it to this tree right here, or this pole, and then we'll go around the shelter at the bottom. This will give us a better idea, you guys, of just how far it is around the shelter. What I need to do is drop it all the way down to the ground, all the way around through there. close enough right there. So what I'll do is I'll measure that when I get home. I'll see how long it is. Then I'll know the size of shelter that tarp that I need to bring in here to put around the shelter. And you guys, I'll bring you all back when I do that so that you can see me install the tarp on this shelter right here, okay? So this is our measuring string. Take that home, we'll just measure it with the tape measure. It's a whole lot easier to do it that way instead of, you know, guessing at it or walking around it and trying to figure it out that way. Just take your string, go all the way around it. You know, at the bottom it's going to be, you're going to use a whole lot of the thing at the bottom, but at the top you're not going to use as much. But still yet, we want this thing to be waterproof when we're setting in it and windproof. That way, you know, we will be more comfortable hunting these deer back in here than just sitting right out in the open woods. And you know, as far as the bear goes in here, the bear, now he will come in here and mess with that tarp. They do it every time. I don't care how many tarps I put up on any shelter. A bear's going to come in there and mess with it. He just better not let me catch him messing with it. That's all I can tell his nasty hide. Because I'm going to take him and skin him out and take him to the house and grind him up into hamburger. That'll be the last shelter I catch him messing with. But even people who put out these pop-up shelters to set in, they've come back many times, you guys, and found that that shelter had been shredded and tore to pieces. So how big is this inside here, you guys? All right, it's probably about 6 foot all the way around, okay? And as you can see, I can actually stand up inside this shelter. And that's what you want. You want to be able to sit down. Now, I'll actually bring one of them old stadium chairs that I've got. I've got plenty of them old stadium chairs. I'll just bring a stadium chair in here and set it inside the shelter. And that way, you can sit a whole lot more comfortable than you will be if you're sitting on the ground or, you know, sitting on a stick or something like that. Also, once it dries up inside here, if you want to lay down in your hunting clothes and take a nap, you can do that. And even if you're not hunting and you're just in this area, you know, maybe you're hunting ginseng or you're hunting wild plants or whatever, you can still get inside your shelter if it comes a storm and hang out. Of course, I'll make a fireplace pit out here so that I can cook if I want to. And that's just one of the things that I like to do around a hunting shelter. And it doesn't cause deer not to come around it, you guys. They just will come around this stuff. But you know, it'll be here all summer long up until the time, you know, deer season comes in, Lord's willing, and the deer will be used to it being here. They won't run from it. They won't, you know, when they pop up here this time, they're going to look and they're going to see this, and they're going to smell the area where I've been all over it dragging in stuff, and they're going to, you know, they're going to scent me. But once that's over with, then they really won't care. All right, you all, let's talk about the hatchet. I was telling somebody the other day, one of my fondest memories is of my grandpa Bullen's, Mom's daddy, in the 1950s, before I was 10 years old. He would come over to the house sometimes they would come over for Sunday dinner. And Sunday dinner, Daddy would go out there and he would get a couple of chickens, because there would be a crowd of people. It'd take more than one chicken to feed all them people. She'd be making mashed potatoes, gravy, and fried chicken. But I can remember my grandfather sitting on the old picnic table, and he had a whetstone, and he'd spit on that. He would spit on that tomahawk that he had, or his hatchet. He just had a hatchet, you all. He'd spit on that thing, and he would sharpen it, and he'd get that thing razor sharp, so that a poor old chicken, when he got his head cut off, wouldn't feel a thing. But that's one of my fondest memories about this. Now, this hatchet, you guys, I will see if I can get the link put up to it. You know, they didn't tell me to do this, by the way. I'm just going to do it because I really am fond of this particular hatchet right here. This thing weighs about 2.5 pounds. It has a solid hickory handle on it. You can see how it's made. It's sort of like the bearded type, you know, a bearded axe. This part of the axe or hatchet comes down like this. But this is actually made, you guys, to carve with. When you know, whether they was going to war or not, they always had people who went with them. It wasn't hardly fighting at all. They were doing things. And these hatchets were made, you guys, designed just like this. And I haven't sharpened this since I come in here this morning. But that's what it's made to do. That's one of the reasons they're designed this way. So they're designed to be very sharp, shaven sharp, you all, and hold that edge. Now, I know that this one right here is going to hold the edge because it's already held it through some really good solid sour wood, and that's one of the hardest things we got around here. Once it dries, like I say, they ain't said a word about me to do anything with this hatchet, you guys. But I'm so impressed with it. I think you guys would like one of them for 16 bucks, okay? Sharp as a razor. So I'll put a link up to it and let you check it out. And if if you like it, like I said there, let me see where the cover to it is. The cover to it, you guys, is not all that. It's some kind of a fake leather, but still yet, you don't find too many axes that you buy with a cover. It don't cost you at least over $100. But this one comes with that cover, so you don't cut yourself, because I guarantee you'll cut yourself. See that right there? You can just stick that on your backpack or hang it wherever you're going, and you can take it with you and get the job done just like I'm doing. Like I said, I've give away all of my tomahawks that I've made. The last one I had hanging on my pack there, I gave it to some kid. I don't remember who it was now. I gave them all away, and that makes about, I think, about 12 or 14 of them now. And one of my better ones was in that geocache that ended up, we can't find the geocache. Either a human being come by and got it and won't tell me that they got it, or I'm pretty sure that an old black bear come by there and stole that thing and took it away. Anyway, you all, you can come back with me next time when I install the tarp on this shelter. Now this is just a debris, and the reason you call it debris is because we're taking what's laying around here in the woods. That's debris in the woods, and we're making a teepee shelter out of it, okay? So that's what it looks like. By the time I get back here, in a few, maybe a week or so, all that wood will probably be dry. And sitting up like that, guys, that stuff will last for years, even if it didn't have a tarp on it, because I've killed deer out of them just like that right there. Just that very style right there with nothing else around it. So that just blocks, the deer being able to actually just get a good visual sight of you. Don't block your scent or anything, but it still works. And I love to do that kind of stuff because, that's the better way to do it. That way you don't have a lot of weight just sitting down on top of the debris that you've stacked up like I did right here. And this one worked fine for a couple of years, but then, guys, it finally did collapse under the weight of its own, it getting wet and all that stuff and the snow getting on it, and it just collapses that way. But anyway, you all, until next time, God bless you. I thank you all so much for watching.